Get Dad the best Father's Day gift ever, a Minky Couture blanket. Save 50% using promo code KSL50 in stores and online at minkycouture.com. The best Father's Day gift ever. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today will be partly cloudy, slight chance of a shower, a high of 83 degrees. We're up to 92 by Sunday. Right now it's 68 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories. On KSL News Radio, Dave and Dujanovic, special coverage of the top national story.
So there was a point in this very public unraveling in the relationship between billionaire Elon Musk and President Trump that I thought, okay, please, guys, settle down. We got to stop now. And this came late in the day yesterday as I was checking out the back and forth sparring that was going on social media. And it's when President Trump referred to potentially canceling contracts regarding Elon Musk's businesses, and then Elon pushing back, talking about, all right, we're just going to decommission its Dragon spacecraft immediately. Like SpaceX would decommission the spacecraft. I'm like, okay, what's the Dragon spaceship? Well, it transports NASA astronauts and supplies to and from the International Space Station. And that's when I thought, now the real world consequences of this very public battle over what began as Elon Musk tweeting out about killing President Trump's big, beautiful budget bill, just made my heart sink. Holly Richardson, starting Monday, you'll be in this chair. Good morning. And Greg Skordas, you will be in the chair next to Holly with our all-new Inside Sources Monday at 9. Nothing like getting started with this, though. Holly, what were your thoughts?
Well, I think it was, I was glued to my phone all afternoon, right? Because here are two grown men in positions of power who are both incredibly wealthy, and they're going at each other in public, right? It's not focused on policy. It was very personal, right? At one point, President Trump even tweeted that he offered Elon Musk some makeup in the White House to cover his bruise from the, loving send-off, the end of May. And here are these two men who are just going at each other. So in some ways it's amusing, and in other ways, like you pointed out, there are real human costs to what both of these people have done.
Well, at one point, President Trump making it sound like he asked Elon Musk to leave, that Elon was wearing thin. Greg, what was your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think Elon was wearing thin, and I think a lot of people gave the impression that Elon was running the country. And so Trump he's not going to put up for much of that. I mean, people were joking President Elon Musk, and Trump sort of in the Oval Office doing whatever, signing whatever Elon puts in front of him. So there was that tension there. But Holly said these two men, and she's exactly right. But what we have is the world's most powerful man and the world's richest man, right. And they're fighting like children, right. like children, and just. Yeah, going back and forth, and well, if you were nothing without me, well, I made you bigger than you needed to be, and like who's really responsible for Trump's election? If you listen to Musk, it was him,
right? Well, and his money.
Well, okay, he said that publicly, but is there any truth to that? Do the Republicans need Elon Musk's money to win?
Well, I certainly think it helped a lot, and with him. Potentially, one of the things he said yesterday was that he would start contributing to Democrats, right? He also said, let's start another party. But that he poured a lot of money into races. He also threatened a bunch of people who didn't get on board with the Doge cuts. Well, I'm going to pour, all this money into a race against an opponent. We'll primary you. And those threats have kind of gone away now because they're on the outs. They're done.
Greg?
Yeah, I mean, you think about Musk, and I was surprised that he went to Trump in the first place. And maybe I was foolish, but you think about a guy who's made his living off of green vehicles, and Trump was anything except pushing toward more electric cars. I mean, that had to be when I heard Musk, it was at a press conference, or he was doing an interview with somebody, and the guy finally said at the end, well, who are you going to support? And he said, well, I think it's going to be Trump. I mean, I was floored, because I just thought, how could you do that to your own company?
Right, the tech bros, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, who's the loser in this? And is it the American people?
Yeah, it's the American people for sure, right? There's just so much potential fallout from this big public breakup, but we're also still discussing a bill that is on death row, basically in the Senate, and
The budget bill.
The budget bill, right? It still increases the deficit. It still raises spending in a time where, of course, that was the big argument with Doge. We're going to cut government spending, and then nothing is really cut.
Well, and that's where it all begins, is when Elon tweets on his X platform, kill the bill.
Yeah, kill the bill.
Call your congressman, call your senators, tell them to kill the bill.
Yeah.
So is it hanging by a thread?
Well, I think it is, and I think it was beforehand anyway. But one of the other things that is interesting with the power dynamics is now you have people in D.C. that have to choose a side, right? Are they on the Musk side, or are they on the Trump side? And we certainly know Speaker Johnson is firmly planted in the Trump side, and he's trying to get the bill across. And I never really liked Musk.
And what Trump doesn't need with this bill is someone from within to go south on it. So if he's got all of his Republican allies on board, that's one thing. But when Elon Musk says, "Hey, wait a minute, you need to take a second look at this," and Mike Lee says, "Hey, I'm listening to Elon Musk. This is making sense." Once the Republican House starts crumbling a little bit, Trump cannot afford to lose very many Republican votes because he has 0 Democratic votes on this big, beautiful bill.
So we're talking now about the spending or the budget bill, but what about re-election? If Musk decides to take a side, I mean, the margins are thin, and if he decides to take a side against one of the president's allies in the Senate or several in the House, or however that shakes out, and starts funding the opponent's campaign, what lies ahead for that? Speculation, of course,
Right.
but
So one of the things Musk said before the big breakup was he was done contributing to political campaigns. He thought his time was over. He was going to go back and focus on Tesla, but of course he wasn't done with political involvement. But typically midterms swing the other way anyway, right? So it would not be unusual, even in a normal cycle, to say President Trump and the Republicans control. I mean, we control all 3 branches. Republicans do, right? And so to see some losses for the Republican Party going into the midterms in 2026. But then you add Musk to the mix, and he may pour money into vulnerable politicians. Joni Ernst is vulnerable, right? And then she's out making statements about we're all going to die. But she's in a vulnerable position,
Medicaid,
right?
Right. Yeah.
So
You have to also wonder, Debbie and Holly, how much clout Trump has with the voters, or excuse me, Musk has with the voters anymore.
Right.
I mean, he may have lost that. And so him coming out strong for Democrats in 2 years is one thing. I mean, money talks, certainly.
Right.
If he donates money, that's one thing. But Musk saying, well, I support this Democrat in this race, I don't know, the public's going to go, you're just a candle in the wind.
right, and we've seen him pour some money into some special elections recently and not be
it
successful.
didn't go well, right?
Right.
Speaking live right now to Holly Richardson and Greg Skordas on Monday morning, Monday through Friday. You'll hear them right here at KSL News Radio, launching every morning at 9 a.m. with our all-new Inside Sources. You'll get lots of coverage like this and many, many other topics that they're going to be covering in the weeks, years ahead. Talking right now about the very public spat, the sparring that's gone on in the last 24 hours between Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, and President Trump, the most powerful man in the world, and what the fallout could be in the days and the weeks, perhaps even in the elections ahead. What do the Democrats do with this? Holly, you go first.
Absolutely nothing. They sit back and eat their popcorn. Right. Yeah, I think weighing in right now for the Democrats would be a big mistake. Just let it play out.
Greg?
Yeah, the same thing they did when the House was trying to elect a speaker, and they were just in complete chaos. The Democrats just sit there and watch. I mean, what can you do? If the Democrats chime in right now, Debbie, they look bad. What they do is, we're trying to get the country moving forward. We're trying to pass legislation. We're trying to move forward with our midterm elections. They don't want to jump into this at all. It's a lose-lose for the
Well,
Democrats.
Chuck Schumer jumped in though.
I didn't know that,
He can't
Holly.
help it.
Yeah, on Twitter, he had a couple of things, and one of them was, Siri play Bad Blood or something like that. Was one of his posts on X, right? I mean, he did jump in.
It's just an interesting pivot point here, because there is the budget bill that they've got to debate, and you'd think that the Democrats would want to come out and start talking about that maybe on the Sunday national news talk shows, but maybe not.
Maybe they
not
will.
because they will be asked about this, or they should be asked about this.
It's part of the news cycle, and sometimes you just don't interrupt people who are, basically sucking all the air out of the room, but digging their own hole. So I think they're going to sit back for a little bit. We'll see on Sunday if it's already passed. But
well, and I can't wait to wake up on Monday morning at 9 a.m. to see if this is still in the news cycle and you two are talking about it. Don't go anywhere. Straight ahead. I caught this story, and I can't wait to hear your takes on this. There's a city council candidate in the city I live in, South Jordan. I was like, oh, well, I'm going to pay close attention to this. Facing issues regarding her name and getting her name on the ballot. And I could relate to the story. I'm not running for political office, but I'm saying that the name I use on air, and I've used on air for decades, is not my legal name.
Yeah.
So let's lean into this story straight ahead.
It's a big moment for Debbie Dujanovic and a big moment for KSL listeners. Debbie retires after her last show Friday, and we couldn't be happier for her. And listeners, we can't wait for you to hear the all-new Inside Sources. Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson coming Monday at 9 on KSL News Radio.
Summer's here. We get a big storm, the wind blows, and your roof gets damaged. Well, at IWC Roofing, they're experts at working with insurance companies. IWC is the #1 rated roofing contractor in Utah, and you're going to love the reasons why. First, IWC Roofing will replace your roof in a single day. In most cases, they show up in the morning, and they're done by nightfall, and they even send you pictures from the roof so you know exactly what you're getting. When they leave, your roof is covered by the best 50-year warranty in the business. And at IWC Roofing, they're less expensive because they do so much volume. They roof more Utah homes than anyone else. And if you call now, IWC Roofing will give you $1,500 off your quote. They know a roof is a major investment. That's why they offer flexible financing. So call the #1 roofing contractor in Utah, 801-841-2700. That's 801-841-2700, or go to iwcroofingutah.com.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Dave and Dujanovic.
This story captured my attention like that the minute I read it on KSLTV.com. Has to do with a city council candidate. And it's not just because it's a race in the city where I live, which is South Jordan. It's that she found out that she cannot use her preferred name to run for a seat on the city council because of this new state law. Holly Richardson and Greg Skordas in studio with me, the new co-hosts of the all-new Inside Sources, which launches right here at 9 o'clock Monday morning, 9 a.m. sharp. Let's do this. Let's listen to KSL Television's Shelby Lofton and her full report on this, and let's come back out on the other side and break this down.
Rachel Lewis Jefferson says her name is an issue. She says new election code that changes name requirements on the ballot doesn't allow her to use the last name she goes by, Jefferson. After she got married, she never changed her name legally, but she says she's used her husband's name professionally and personally for years. She says she didn't have enough time to legally change her name before the city council filing deadline because it's a lengthy process. The new law only allows nicknames before or after the candidate's legal first name or it can replace the first name if they submit an affidavit signed by 5 residents of the same county they live in. Those residents, who cannot be immediate family, agree the candidate is generally known by that nickname. Nicknames also can't be offensive, political, or imply the candidate is someone else, among other rules. The law comes after candidate Lucifer Everylove was listed on last year's ballot with the nickname Just in Case. Senator Stephanie Pitcher, who was behind this law, told lawmakers earlier this year that the rules help preserve the integrity of the election process. Lewis Jefferson says she understands why the law is in place, but wishes there was more flexibility for last names. She said the state elections office told her she could advocate for the law to change next legislative session or take the issue to court.
I think the direction they're going makes a lot of sense to, help voters feel secure in how they're voting and also not to confuse voters. But I do think that there's some room to just tweak it so that candidates can also go by the last name that they are currently using.
So that was Shelby Lofton of KSL Television reporting on this situation in the South Jordan City Council race. Holly, what was your take when you heard this?
Well, I think I think what Rachel found is that the intent of the law and the implementation of the law are not always the same thing. And that's what Senator Pitcher said, too, as well, when she was the sponsor of the law. And she said she thought it was obvious to her that you could use the name that you normally go by, right? And yet there was a different interpretation when Rachel got to the county clerk's office.
Greg, you were a county prosecutor for a long time. Do county clerks go to the county prosecutors or the district attorney's office and ask for interpretations?
You'd be surprised, Debbie, since I left the district attorney's office, how many candidates contact me now for election law and just call and say, well, hey, I'm doing this or I'm doing that, or my signs are being taken down here, or can I put up a billboard here? I mean, they call you all the time for election law. So there's a book. I mean, it's a pretty thick book that we look at and we try to interpret things. But this is just another addition to the book. And it just takes one Lucifer just in case to ruin everything for everyone,
We have had Frugal Dougal,
yes,
right?
That's
so,
right.
And Frugal obviously is a nickname.
And I think that Hatch ran as a in the primary and he used his middle name.
That's right. Most recently, I think it's Brent O. Hatch. He uses professionally, but on the ballot he was Brent
Orrin Hatch, right? Yeah.
So I just look at this from okay, I'm not running for political office, but if I were to run for political office, I wonder if this would put me in a bit of a jam because I've been here 30 years in the media. My name is Debbie Dujanovic. That is not my legal name.
Right.
So you couldn't run as Debbie Dujanovic. And that would be a huge problem because that's how you're known. That's how you're known by everybody.
So I did take my husband's name when we got married in 1995, but I've never incorporated it in because I was like, that would be a really, really long name on air. So what you're saying is I could not run as Debbie Dujanovic.
Probably not.
And what I've been divorced for a few years, but I'm not going to go change my name back legally because my kids have our last name.
Sure.
We share the same last name, and that's very meaningful to me. So I was like, that could potentially put me in a jam just by way of example.
Yeah, and the reverse, right? I mean, what you're saying, I think, is the opposite of what Rachel is looking at. So she didn't legally change her name to her married name, even though she's using it. But I, like you, I mean, I have a number of friends who professionally are using the name that they were born with, but they have a legal married name.
Well, and I will tell you the other reason, it doesn't rise to the level that keeping my same last name as my kids does, but also, you got to go back and change a lot of other legal documents. I'm like, I don't want to go down that road. I don't have the energy to go down the road to change the title of my home or the title of my car and my bank accounts
and your
my
social security card,
number.
Your driver's license,
no offense
all the
to
things.
the Social Security Administration, but do I want to go sit in that lobby again?
And I don't do divorce work primarily, but I help friends and family. And you always ask them, really, as a part of that, do you want your name changed? Because you can do it as a part of a divorce decree. You don't need to go through the name change process. You can say, and the petitioner wants to have her maiden name back, or she wants to go back to this name, or just leave it out, and then she keeps the name. It's typically the woman that would be changing her name. But yeah, you can change it. It's pretty easy. But at this point in your life, or in this woman's life that's running, it's not so easy. It's not just go amend your divorce decree or something.
Holly, you served in the Utah State Legislature. Where do you think this ends up going?
I think
or what are the options?
I think they'll tweak it during the next legislative session. I don't think there's going to be much disagreement with it. I think it's part of the unintended consequences that sometimes happen, right? It seems obvious to lawmakers what this law was supposed to mean, but it didn't translate at the county clerk level.
So this is strictly anecdotal, but when I first read this story, I felt like, oh, this is probably more likely to happen to a woman who's been married than a man.
Yeah, right. For sure.
And that is a potential for a lot of complicating factors, I guess.
Yeah, and then you get into the conversation, right, about that we're trying to have about the SAVE Act, nationally, where you have to show up with the name that you were born with or some form of...
It's on your birth certificate.
Right. So for the women who've changed their names legally, then they don't match, right? So you've got these conflicting issues potentially.
And Debbie, you really have to look also at the intent of the law. And I know Stephanie Pitcher, she's very good, and she's an attorney. But the intent of the law was to make it so that there wasn't some misleading representation in your name when you put your name on the ballot. There wasn't something misleading about it.
Like I just came up with a name.
Yeah, right. I just want to be called this because it's going to be more attractive on the ballot.
Or you add MD, even though you're not a medical doctor, but you say, well, it means, mostly Democrat. Like, I don't know.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in that respect, I think the law can be tweaked so that it can say, that the purpose of the law is to make it so that the name is not misleading. Now that opens up some objectivity or subjectivity, I guess, the eyes of the election officials. But I think that's really what Pitcher's bill was intended to do, was to make it so that names on the ballots don't confuse voters, that they're voting for someone that they're not really sure who that person is.
Right.
Greg Skordas, Holly Richardson. We'll wrap here so you guys can go rest up for Monday morning at 9 a.m. I'm super excited for both of you. We've found two smart political insiders who've been at this for a very, very long time. Holly with the Deseret News, also is the editor of Utah Policy, served in the Utah legislature. Greg Skordas, longtime attorney. I've known you forever.
We go back a bit. We go back.
I've known you forever.
Life.
You also run for political office and twice. Thanks for reminding yourself.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me.
I'm so excited for both of you, and I'm so thrilled that we're handing the baton of this show to both of you.
Thank you for your great example and
Debbie,
how you set the bar.
We're excited for you. You did a great job. I mean, you have really set the bar high. And what you did with this show over the last, 7 or 8 years, just remarkable. So thank you for what you've done.
Well, stick around if you don't mind, at least in the hall. Say hi to the former, very long time, iconic host of this show, Doug Wright, or the Doug Wright Show. He's joining me in studio.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah,
wonderful.
Next.
It's a changing of the guard for KSL, and that means an expanded Inside Sources for you. Debbie Dujanovic retires after her last show Friday. Huge congrats, Debbie. Coming Monday, the all-new Inside Sources with Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson. Monday at 9 on KSL News Radio.
KSL offers the best daily newsletter in the state. It's the 3 things you need to know. Every weekday, we deliver quality and relevant content to your inbox. No ads, no spam, just the 3 things you need to know to be informed about the world around you. Subscribe today. Visit KSLNewsRadio.com or text the word inbox to 57500. That's inbox to 57500.
Your electric bill is going to be higher for summer, but not if you get new windows from Advanced Window Products. State-of-the-art double-pane windows and insulated frames, any style, any color, from a company that's been building them right here in Salt Lake City for 39 years. Not only are you buying local, but you're cutting out the middleman because they're the factory. You save 30, even 40% on your new windows, and you get a lifetime guarantee from a trusted local company. If there's a problem 5 years from now, they come right over and get things straight. And right now, you can save even more. If you call Advanced Windows for a quote, they'll give you an extra $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. Advanced Windows offers buy now, pay later. They have 60-month 0% financing. They always work out affordable payments, plus $2,500 off. So get your new windows for summer. Make the call now, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or you can go to advancedwindows.com.
Americans love using their credit cards, the most secure and hassle-free way to pay. But D.C. politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing them to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Corporate megastores will make more money, and you pay the price. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com. Paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
From iconic headliners like the Beach Boys to tributes of your favorite bands like the music of Journey, Utah Symphony's Deer Valley Music Festival brings unforgettable music to the mountains with the full power of the orchestra behind every note. Pack a picnic, bring your crew, and make it a summer to remember. Tickets are on sale now, and they're going fast. Secure your spot at DeerValleyMusicFestival.org.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. For years now, I've been telling you about Connecticut soft water systems that use 2/3 less salt than the others. But I've never told you exactly how they do that. Well, there are several ways, so consider this as part one in a series. Most of the softeners out there use a finicky, hard-to-adjust computer to guesstimate when to cycle, and it errs on the side of cycling too often, which means it'll burn through way too much salt way too soon. Connecticut is different. It has an all-mechanical system that measures the water precisely. No computer, no guesstimating, so it cycles only when needed. The result? Connecticut delivers perfectly soft water 24/7 using minimal salt. So why not save your lower back from carrying the 3 bags of salt when all you need is 1? Call Northern Utah's authorized Connecticut dealer, Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake. Call them now, 801-576-8600, or log on to softwaterutah.com and tell them Doug sent you.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Pro Paint Days are back at Lowe's, and My Lowe's Pro Rewards members can save even more with limited time deals. Right now, buy one, get one half off select HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams primer and ceiling paint. Plus, get free same-day delivery to your job site when you order by 2 p.m. Offer valid through 6/13, delivery by 8 p.m., subject to driver availability. Additional terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story, Draper residents are waking up this morning to a continued boil order. Draper City Water says it may be contaminated with E. coli after cross-contamination between the secondary water and culinary water systems. A full map of the affected area is available on our website, kslnewsradio.com. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The U.S. Embassy in Mexico has issued a security alert for travelers, and it's tied to dating apps.
The U.S. Embassy here in Mexico saying it, quote, confirms several reports of U.S. citizens being kidnapped by individuals the victims met on dating apps in the Puerto Vallarta and Nuevo Nayarit areas. These are, of course, two very popular spots with tourists along the Mexican Pacific coast. Thankfully, no deaths reported in any of these cases. The embassy saying to stay safe, be cautious when using these apps here, meet in public places, tell a friend what you're doing, and of course, trust your instincts, because if it doesn't feel right, it probably is.
ABC's Matt Rivers reporting from Mexico City. More toll road and DMV unpaid ticket scams are showing up on phones around Utah.
If you're getting a text message on your phone or an email that your license is going to be suspended or a warrant's going to be out for your arrest based on these, Please don't respond to them. It's a scam. It's a fraud.
Lieutenant Jeremy Leonard with the Springville Police Department says if you have a legitimate fine owed to the DMV, they will send you a certified letter. Your money at this moment, right now, the Dow is up 381. That's 0.9%. We're at 42,701. Coming up, we start to warm up today. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:03.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio. All right, hey, it's the movie show, guys. Andy Farnsworth and Steve Sales. Our show coming live today from My Hearing Centers in Sandy, where we've got an amazing offer for KSL listeners. And it's time. If you're over, 50, Matt, it's time to get your hearing checked. If you haven't done it.
Or if you have hearing loss, right? If you're noticing that your hearing is deteriorating, that's a great time to come in. So if you're turning up the TV,
your favorite word? Yes.
Yes, so you're repeating yourself, asking people to repeat themselves if you're turning up the TV too loudly, or if you know someone like that, this is a great time to give us a call. We're doing free hearing evaluations at all of our offices up and down the Wasatch Front. And if you qualify, basically if you have a hearing loss, we're going to let you try the latest technology risk-free for 30 days.
Now, this is a great offer, not just for people who have never had hearing aids, but this also applies to people who are currently using hearing aids.
Yeah, current users or people that have tried hearing aids before and were unsatisfied when you tried them. This is a beautiful, amazing technology that's really revolutionized the quality of sound that we're presenting to people that have hearing loss. It's more natural than we've ever had. We're letting people try it for the 30 days so they can experience for themselves. If you don't want to keep the hearing aids, that's fine. Give them back. We'll still give you a gift card to go get some movie tickets. If you do want to keep the hearing aids, we have special pricing, and we'll work with your insurance companies.
Have you had people who've tried the new ones and been like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how much better things have improved?
Yes, a lot of times, yeah. So if you have hearing aids, that's right. If you're a couple years old, you really got to come in and see what the new technology is. Even if you don't want to move forward with it, just so you have an idea of what you have, if you want to save up for or make that transition 2-3 years later. It's just a great opportunity to come in. It's a free evaluation and then a risk-free trial of that technology.
Well, we better give out the number so people can take advantage of this free offer. 801-701-1629. Now, they got to come in to do the hearing evaluation, but you guys have offices pretty much close to wherever somebody lives.
Yeah, Ogden all the way down to St. George. If you can hear the sound of our voices right now, we probably have an office near you. Give us a call. Schedule the free evaluation, 801-701-1629.
Progressive knows when you own a boat or RV, it's like you're automatically on vacation, even if you're actually a marriage counselor in the middle of couples therapy. But in your mind, you're camping in Acadia, puttering around Frenchman Bay. Your boat and RV are both protected. You're lobster drenched in butter and... Uh-oh, did your clients just notice you weren't listening? Quick, do the thing where you just repeat back exactly what they said but as a question. They bought it. Now back to Maine, earning an automatic discount bundling your boat or RV with your home or auto. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Any Hour Services can make sure your AC keeps you cool this summer. Whether you need a tune-up, repair, or just a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. And here is Heather Kelly.
We're on hour 3 of very slow traffic southbound I-15 between I-84 and 5600 south in Roy. This is due to a crash. It's still blocking the right lane. A semi-truck rolled, blocking that right lane. It's going to take a little bit of time to get everything cleared out of there. It's adding an extra 4 or 5 minutes to your commute trying to leave Weber County into Davis County. But once you get past it, you've got good speeds into downtown Salt Lake. Now, if you're leaving downtown southbound I-15, we do have some slowdowns between Murray and Midvale. That was due to an earlier crash that just got cleared. The future is here. Don't have internet stuck in the past. Quantum Fiber Internet offers next-level speed on reliable fiber network. Learn more at quantumfiber.com. Service in select locations only. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Mostly sunny today, a high of 83, 88 tomorrow, 92 on Sunday. Right now, partly cloudy and 70 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's a very special hour. A farewell to Debbie Dujanovic.
Hi, Deb. It's FM 100.3's Rebecca Cressman. I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I was a huge fan of yours when you were on KSL television.
Hey, Debbie. You caught me in the middle of yard work at my house. You remember my house? I know you know my house because after the Rio Olympics in 2016, you were part of the effort to sell my house. Still one of the best pranks ever. But Debbie, you're retiring. Congratulations. You're awesome.
It's been 7 years of this? I think that's right. I don't know how time has passed so quickly, and I don't know how you're leaving us, but I suspect in retirement you're not going to be playing shuffleboard a whole lot. You have a lot to do, and I wish you the very best.
Debbie wraps an extraordinary career, and we celebrate her work and next steps on KSL News Radio.
Oh, you all surprised me. That is so special, hearing from my amazing colleagues here at Broadcast House, Rebecca and Alex and Jeff, and now I'm joined by the iconic Doug Wright, who for 38 years hosted right here at KSL News Radio for 38. We were trying to do the math, Doug. I don't even know. Was it 40? Was it 48 years? And now you've come back on my final day here at Broadcast House to join me, and that just feels so special. Thank you.
As far as counting the years, it kind of depends on how you go. I was hired in 1978, and then I fully retired 2 years ago, so that was 45 years. And
amazing.
Then the show I did from 1985 forward to when you and Dave took over, and then I retired even from the movie show, 2 years ago. So, but I'm here to talk about you.
Oh, well,
I first of all, can I thank you for the opportunity to be here?
Absolutely.
I think back, and I was having a great reunion out in the hall.
Good.
I can't tell you how many times Greg Skordas, used to be on the show, and how many times I would call him long before he was kind of our immediate go-to person for legal affairs and so on. On Holly on the Hill, oh my goodness!
Yes.
So,
and we're now the torch passes to them starting Monday morning at 9 a.m. and you went into sort of retirement in 2018, and it has been almost exactly to the day that Dave and I took over your time slot. And I remember when after the announcement was made, and I could not agree with everybody who said this more, and that is you have really, really big shoes to fill.
Oh, goodness.
And I definitely felt the weight of your amazing legacy, Doug, as we were taking over the microphone for you. And what a gift I felt that I had been given to be able to step in, not into your shoes, ever, never, but behind the microphone that you had spent so many years on crafting our coverage, and informing our listeners with smart takes and the voices across our community for decades. And it just means the world to me that when we reached out to you to have you join me here on my final broadcast, that you said yes. So thank you.
Oh, I'm deeply honored. And isn't this an amazing radio station? There's nothing like it anywhere. And I used to talk about, and I'm sure you've experienced this too, you can have a wonderful act and be on the wrong stage. Or a stage that doesn't project, or a stage that doesn't have the reputation. There's a big difference between, and I happen to be an Elk, so I'm not dissing the Elks, but there's a big difference between being on the stage at the Elks Lodge and being at Carnegie Hall.
Oh, yeah.
And this is Carnegie Hall, and I think for all of us who have worked at KSL, it's been a magnificent opportunity for all of us to be able to do whatever it is that we have done and do it on a stage like this. Debbie, I want to talk about you, though. I want to talk about good grief.
I'm looking for a little retirement advice. What have you been up to, Doug? What's keeping you busy after stepping away from radio for that many years? What's been the highlight of your retirement life with your beautiful family and your wife?
I think you hit the key right there. It's family, and the people you love. And family encompasses more than just a husband, a wife, kids, nieces and nephews. It's your friends and your family that just add so much to your life, and having a great relationship and having the opportunity to go out to lunch with your friends and to be able to do things with your friends, to be able to travel with the people you love, again, whether it's friends, family, whatever. There are just so many things that in this business, I think particularly, but everybody will relate to, that you put off things that you want to do. For years, I said, I want to go to Scotland. I want to go to Scotland. I have part of my family is from Scotland, the British Isles, and then from Switzerland. And now, since I retired, I've been in Switzerland, I've been in Scotland, and I'm going to go to Scotland again coming fall. So I think having things that you're not living for, but wanting to do.
And looking forward to. I've heard that. And here's a little secret about how I've navigated this really major, it's a life-changing decision because news is in my DNA. I began my news career when I was at Arizona State University in the 1980s at the radio station there. So it's come full circle for me. And eventually, for some reason, they promoted me, air quotes, as a student. It was student-run operation, to news director. And then right after graduation, I took my first job at a television news station as the assignment editor in way over my head in Phoenix, Arizona. So thankful to the staff there who held me up and supported me when I was making some really questionable decisions as to like what we were going to cover that day, because I just didn't have the experience. But they taught me and they trained me. And then eventually in the year 2000, I walked into Broadcast House looking for a job as a reporter, as a TV news reporter, and they hired me. And I covered the Olympics, I covered the Elizabeth Smart kidnapping, I covered 9/11 from the Utah perspective, and on and on and on. And I'm like, last night I sat down, Doug, and I said, news is in my DNA. And in fact, DNA now officially in my home stands for Debbie's News Addiction.
Right.
I actually discussed this with my therapist over the course of many therapy sessions, because I said, how do I step away from this and strip this from my DNA? I feel like it's in some ways a career calling for me, and I would love to hear how you do that. Do you have the magic recipe that I can brew up this weekend?
There are ways to stay involved, and I've seen it in many different people and many different ways. But you're right; it is in our DNA. I started in broadcasting when I was 16.
Wow!
And I went to work at KSL when I was 26. And the thought, there were times I was actually haunted. I thought, what will I do when I'm not walking through the doors of a radio station or a television station?
The feeling I had this morning when I pulled into the parking garage for the last time here at Broadcast House. I mean, maybe not the last time ever. I was certainly going to come back and visit, that kind of thing. But officially, as an employee of Bonneville and of KSL, a place I've called home, and I pretty much raised my kids in at times. They would come to the newsroom with me when they were under the age of 4, and they would play, and they would buy the sugar cookies by the dozen out of the machine and all those things. So we have a huge family connection to that. And if you're just joining us right now, you know his voice. It's Doug Wright. He was the host of this time slot for many, many years. We think 40 years right here on KSL News Radio, the
decades.
Host of the Doug Wright Show. Talking about what life is like after retirement and kind of holding my hand as I waltz through that door. And I think the DNA for news isn't only embedded in us, but you think about people who have careers and they are, whether they're a CPA or they're a real estate agent or they're in retail or they drive truck for a living and they've done that their whole lives and they love it. We all have that, Doug.
Yeah, absolutely. You talk about DNA. I used to joke that if I ever get scratched, I bleed RF, radio frequency. Blood doesn't come out anymore. And I just love the industry that we're in. And I think that's why we've enjoyed it so much. And I think that's why when you do look at retirement and you do look at stepping down from whatever, it's hard. And I'm like an old fire horse. When I hear that bell ring, I want to run. I want to go to the fire. And there have been times in the last 7 years when there has been a big news story, and I feel like I need to be in the harness. I feel like I need to. But, you know, you do, the President Kennedy's great speech, there's a time for the torch to be passed to a new generation. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you, and in our business, Debbie, and I think you'll relate to this, because when I met Dee here at KSL,
yes,
as most people know,
amazing wife.
She worked in television. And I can remember when we got to know each other, and then when we got married, I remember there were so many people in this building, in this industry, that I so loved and respected. But sometimes in our industry, you will see where there was a time for a graceful, comfortable, melancholy exit. And then there were times when perhaps you look over your shoulder and you went, I should have taken the door earlier.
Oh.
And Dee and I did the pinky pledge, and we said, we will not stay too long. And so for me, I feel that I was really guided and even blessed to the timing was perfect, and making ways for others to step in. So
And you did that for me.
Well, and people did that
right,
for me.
Right.
And
yeah,
so I think I would rather step out, and you are certainly doing this. You have made a decision to move on to a different phase of your life when people are still going, why, Deb, why are you leaving?
I get a lot
Come
of
on,
that.
you've got a lot of years. You know, I remember I asked Jake Garn once. He was retiring after 18 years in the Senate. And I said, Jake, you could retire. I mean, but why? Why do you want to retire? You will be easily reelected. There's so much. And he looked at me and he said, first of all, I promised the people I wouldn't stay too long. This is politics, not radio we're talking. But then he said, there's a time to leave, and this is a good time. I'm making the decision myself. And as you know, a lot of people in our industry, we don't get that opportunity. The music's playing, you're a wonderful person, you're greatly talented and so on, but the industry changes, different things change, and the music stops, and there's no place to sit down. And it's nice to have the incredible opportunity that I think you have and you're taking after an amazing career. I wish you were staying longer.
Thank you.
And, there's just no question about that. But it's nice to do it, at a time that's good for you.
And I am so actually looking forward to being a viewer and a listener of our, incredible stations here, whether it's KSL TV or KSL News Radio, or keeping track of where things are going, thanks to our friends at the Deseret News. And I think it's a phenomenal time in Utah. Some people don't like to see all the growth that's been happening, but I think you have been here for so long. I've certainly been here, moved here in 1990, so I've seen a lot of growth, and I'm looking forward to seeing things like what they're doing in downtown Salt Lake with the revitalization of the area around the Delta Center. I'm looking forward to and keeping my fingers crossed, quite frankly, to see if we get an MLB team, what's happening down at Southtown Mall with the new hockey practice facility, the new hockey team. I think there's a lot of things I'm going to be sitting back and watching, and I'll be curious to see if I'm like, do I want to get back? I wish I was still in the mix, but we've got the Olympics coming in 2034. Sure. It is a phenomenal time, I think, and a dawning of a new era for a new generation of Utahns.
I've been at two events recently, one that I emceed over at Grand America, where former Governor Leavitt has spoken. And it's always an honor to introduce him. And I think of when we started Let Me Speak to the Governor here, it was Governor Leavitt who was in office. And I just have so admired him over the years. And boy, the focus in one of those events was the 2034 Olympics, and maybe the future Olympics that will just roll over depending on how things unfold. And I was so impressed with his enthusiasm for, what's coming up. The fact that he is still staying involved, but he's not the guy anymore. And I'll tell you, there is really something to be said for that. The people that know where the bodies are buried, the people that know what happened, the people that know the corporate history, the people that know the behind-the-scenes politics of whatever event occurred. You are going to become that individual. I've done that a little bit over the last 7 years, and there are so many ways to stay involved. And
that's so important to hear.
I used to tell our listeners this. For everybody, there is a role. There is a place. I know a professor at the University of Utah who retired, and now he goes to individual libraries. And he talks to whomever comes. It's not just an old geezer senior citizen thing. I mean, people of all ages come, and they have open discussions. And that's how he chose an outlet. There's so many wonderful ways to still keep your foot in.
Things I wouldn't even think about doing.
But you can sleep in once in a while.
Do you sleep in, Doug? Because you used to get here earlier than I. I mean, when I was on TV, on the morning show on TV, I would get up at like 3:30 in the morning.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But you used to get up like, at 4 a.m.?
I used to get up for the TV hit that I did regularly for so many years. I used to get up at 4:45, and I'd whine about it. And then I'd look at Amanda, and I'd look at the morning
team. And they
get
up so much earlier.
They have to be here, sometimes 3:30. Be here at 3:30. And I go, oh, my goodness. So, yeah, sleeping in, sometimes it's really decadent. I can sleep in until maybe 7:30.
7?
Yeah, ooh.
What about noon?
But there are so many wonderful things that you're going to experience, you're going to participate in. New doors open up, new interests open up.
That's what I'm looking forward to, too,
and pray
new
that
interests.
Pray that you never lose that feeling like, I've got the news DNA. I'm bleeding RF
Debbie's
here.
news addiction DNA,
and you'll always be addicted. I don't mean to go off on a weird note here, but a lot of alcoholics will say, "I'm still an alcoholic. I'm just not drinking as much or at all.
Yeah,
and I'm still addicted to drugs.
You'll
still be addicted to broadcast, and that's a good addiction, by the way. That's not a terribly harmful. Well, I don't know. There were days, but you will always feel that urge. There will always be that longing. There will always be that desire. There are times I went, oh gosh, I wish I could talk with our KSL listeners about this. I wish I could open the phone lines and see what the folks are. And here's what else you really miss. I wish when something is unfolding, I was sitting in the middle of the newsroom. I don't even necessarily want to have a part in it, but I wish I was sitting in the newsroom, watching my colleagues and listening to the buzz and feeling the energy in the air. You'll always miss that, Deb, but you've got so many wonderful things that are coming up. And I tell you, there are some great little homes for sale in Eureka right now. That I could hook you up.
I just found out that you were not born and raised in Eureka. Here I thought all of these years listening to you on KSL News Radio and your show that I was like, wow, Doug was born and raised in Eureka. What a guy.
Well, it's fun to have the passions.
You have a place down there.
It's fun to love history. It's fun to love a little place, a cabin, whatever it might be. It's fun to love a hobby, and all those things play into it. They really do. Debbie, I wish you the very, very best.
Doug.
It's been an honor to know you. I thank you over and over and over now for being on the air with me, enhancing my show, filling in for me back in the day. I can remember when a news story was breaking or you were working on an investigative report and you'd come in and the studio's a little different, but you'd sit right there.
That's right. I would. I was overwhelmed in the best of ways to be in your presence. So larger than life, Doug Wright, very, very long time host of this time slot right here. I know. Well, where you can't figure out, is it 38 years? Is it 45 years? We'll do the math later.
Okay, I went on the air in 1985 with the show, and then it was 2018. So whatever the math. And then, but the movie show went longer. The movie show lives on.
As we had to break.
It's like a fungus.
One of our texters did say, Doug, they asked, is Doug going to make a cameo today on the movie show?
I haven't been invited. I told Andy, I said, I'm not going to get in your way at all. If you ever want anything, call me.
Well,
but the most important thing is for you to make this your show, and he and Steve have.
And I'm so grateful for all of you taught me over the years so I could step into, at least behind the microphone here at KSL News Radio. Doug Wright, thank you so much, my friend.
Debbie, I love you. Good luck to you.
Thank you. Love you too.
I'll give you a tour of Eureka sometime.
And tell Dee I said hi.
I will.
All right.
I will.
Congratulations, Debbie Dujanovic. Debbie locks up a successful career on Friday to retire. Starting Monday, KSL introduces the all-new Inside Sources. Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson give you inside access on the people and politics shaping Utah. Starting Monday at 9 on KSL News Radio. Jeff Kaplan.
His Minute of News is great. It's always entertaining.
I listen to Jeff Kaplan every day.
He gives you important news and traffic and the familiar voice that helps you enjoy the ride home.
I really like Jeff's Minute of News. He's calm and he's balanced.
I really enjoy driving home and just listening to what he's got to say.
Jeff Kaplan gets me home every day.
Join the community that relies on Jeff Kaplan. He has you covered. Afternoons from 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
It's the movie show, guys. Andy Farnsworth, Steve Sales. We're broadcasting live from My Hearing Centers, and we'll welcome Doug anytime, just to clear that up, since he was just talking about that. But we're joined now by Matt Deering. And Matt, if you're used to a hearing aid, or if you think that a hearing aid is just something you put in your ear, you turn the volume up and down, and then you just hope for the best, boy, have we got news for you.
Yeah, that's wrong.
You can't just turn it up to 11?
You have some control over your hearing aids. Basically, you have a fitting range, and what we do is when we do test your hearing, we make sure that you can't turn the volume up higher where it's going to cause more problems. We're trying to get you back to normal set hearing, right? So that when you're in a conversation, you're hearing normally. You're not hearing the person doesn't sound loud, they don't sound soft, they just sound normal. And we are able to do that by testing different frequencies, identifying the frequencies where you have a hearing loss, and representing the sound back using a hearing aid at that frequency. What we're looking for right now, though,
that was fancy,
are people that have a hearing problem that would benefit from being able to come in for a free hearing evaluation and a risk-free trial of the greatest hearing aids, doing that exact thing, identifying your hearing loss, identifying the frequencies where you have a hearing loss, and bring the sound back to normal, so that it's not going to help you initially hear better. That's what people are a little confused about. You're not going to hear better. You're going to communicate better. You're going to understand better. You might be hearing things right now. What we really treat and what we really work to help are people in their communication and their understanding.
And that's what I was going to say, is if you thought hearing aids were like that, we have got these fancy state-of-the-art Signia BCTIX hearing aids that we're going to tell you about during the movie show. But we want you to take advantage of the deal that My Hearing Centers has today of a free hearing evaluation, a free hearing test, and a chance to try the best possible hearing aids that exist, risk-free for 30 days. And to do that, you've got to call 801-701-1629 to make that appointment. And you got to do it during the movie show to get this free offer. So do that right now, 801-701-1629.
I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story this hour. Salt Lake City is hoping to make mental health care a legacy for the 2034 Olympic Winter Games. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
In a panel discussion at the International Olympic Committee's first ever Olympian 365 Summit in Switzerland, CEO of the Huntsman Family Foundation, David Huntsman, said the Utah Games are an opportunity to improve support to athletes around the world. The IOC and partners plan to introduce new programs to help protect athletes' well-being, tackle abuse, and address mental health. Huntsman says it can be the legacy we create and continue helping our communities long after the games are over. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story this hour from ABC News. This morning's monthly jobs report shows American employers added 139,000 jobs in May. That was better than expected.
139,000 jobs added beats the 125,000 we expected. Where were the jobs added? Healthcare. We saw leisure and hospitality and social assistance.
ABC News business reporter Alexis Christoforous says there were about 22,000 federal government jobs lost. Salt Lake City's Main Street is going carless starting today. Closures run from South Temple to 400 South. It starts at 2 p.m. this afternoon and will run every Friday and Saturday this month. This year, there are 4 sections of the Open Streets program: Family Commons, Arts Avenue, Village Market, and Restaurant Row. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 395 right now. We're at 42,708. Coming up, warmer temperatures for the weekend. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:33. Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Pantheon Clinical Research is conducting a chronic migraine clinical trial. Located just minutes from Salt Lake City with plenty of free parking, this study is open to children ages 12 to 17 who suffer from chronic migraines. To pre-qualify, your child must have 8 or more migraine attacks each month and at least 15 headache days. They should also currently be taking or have taken oral medication for migraine relief. All study-related visits, tests, and medications will be provided at no cost. Plus, reimbursement for study-related travel may also be available. As a parent, it's never easy to watch your child suffer. This is your chance to help them find relief. For more information, call Pantheon Clinical Research at 385-281-0550. That's Pantheon Clinical Research, 385-281-0550. Or visit us online at pantheonclinical.com. Again, that's 385-281-0550. Or go to pantheonclinical.com.
Looking for reliable home services you can actually count on? I've got just the team for you. Mountain Home Services. They've been serving Utah since 1954 with honest, upfront pricing and zero hidden fees. Plus, they back every job with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. With summer heating up, now's the time to get your AC in shape. Mountain Home Services delivers fast, expert air conditioning service to keep your home cool and comfortable. And don't forget, they also handle electrical and plumbing work with the same trusted care. And here's the best part. KSL listeners get exclusive limited-time specials, but you have to call and ask. These deals won't last, so don't miss your chance to save. Call 801-543-2222 today and tell them KSL sent you. That's 801-543-2222 or visit mountainhomeservices.com. Get the service you need and the deal you deserve.
The Utah RV Palooza is ready for another round of RV savings, but this time we're hooking you up, South Salt Lake County. June 5th through the 7th, we're bringing our packed inventory of new and used RVs to you on Harriman Main Street, just south of Winco. Shop all the best RV brands fit for any budget and all at show pricing. You'll find payments starting under $139 per month on approved credit on select new RVs and clearance pricing on all remaining new 2024s while they last. You'll also get 90 days of all play and no pay OAC. Start shopping the best deals now at UtahRVPalooza.com. And it's the only show featuring the full lineup from Wayfinder RV, available exclusively through Bish's. Plus, every RV purchase receives a free 1-year RV Fix membership, your fast track to RV service repairs. All this plus free admission to the Utah RV Palooza, June 5th through the 7th on Harriman Main Street, just south of Winco. See you in Harriman.
Based on approved credit, 20% down, 8.99% APR for 180 months. Stock number 89922. Subject to prior sale. See dealer for details. Deal number 822B426B.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. And here's Heather Kelly.
We still have delays southbound I-15 through Weber County. That's from I-84 to 5600 South in Roy due to a rolled semi that's still blocking the right lane and shoulder in the cleanup stages. But now we have a crash on I-215's West Belt. This is in Murray. It's heading eastbound as you approach the State Street exit. We had a couple of right lanes blocked in the area, so traffic was backed up onto the connecting ramp from northbound I-15, but now they've moved everybody to the right shoulder. Traffic is starting to ease up in that area. Whether you park it, stripe it, or pave it, GoPave Utah has your blacktop covered. At GoPaveUtah.com, that's GoPaveUtah.com. Call or visit GoPaveUtah.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
We start a weekend warm-up today. We'll get to 83 today, 88 tomorrow, 92 on Sunday. Right now it's 72 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at KSLNewsRadio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
We're cheering on the next chapter for Debbie Dujanovic.
This is Jay Evenson, the opinion editor at the Deseret News. Debbie, I want to take this opportunity to thank you for your many years of service at KSL. You've consistently been a voice of clarity, reason, and careful insights, thorough research, professionalism.
I just wanted to let you know how much I appreciate your mentorship, how smart you are, how well-spoken you are, your years of experience here, and frankly, your friendship.
Debbie! Hi, it's John Smith. Hi, I work upstairs. Anyway, I'm sitting here in this studio that is completely empty and devoid of any sort of personality or excitement at all, because it is symbolic of how it's going to feel when you're gone.
A special hour on KSL News Radio.
Oh, I love my colleagues here at Broadcast House, from the radio stations up on the second floor, Arrow 103.5 FM. I'm not going to let you guys go. I will be listening in retirement along with FM 100 and KSL News Radio and KSL 5 TV, where I walked through the door in August of 2000 looking for a job as a news reporter. I had been a news reporter for, I believe, 10 years at that point at a competing TV station. KSL welcomed me with open arms, and KSL TV is where I called home for a very, very long time. And I was so privileged to be, or felt so privileged to be invited to launch their investigative unit in 2004. After a 4-year run as the morning show reporter for KSL 5 TV, and for a total of, it was like 10 years, I was an investigative reporter on KSL 5 TV, and Carrie Wilcox, our managing editor of the investigative unit, you were the boss of me for so many of those years, and my gratitude, I cannot thank you enough for helping me shape my coverage, how I looked at tips that were rolling in, how I worked with my sources, and what ultimately would end up in long format investigative pieces that a lot of them created a lot of change. So thank you so much.
Thank you. That was honestly a privilege to work with you for so many years, because I learned so much from you and the way you would approach stories. You were always so focused on accuracy and fairness, but treating people with respect. No matter what the issue was and how difficult it was, there was always an underlying of really respecting people and their perspectives and wanting to share those stories fairly. But the work you did, my goodness.
Yeah, we're going to reflect on some of that, right? Of course, and we're sitting here trying to walk down memory lane. I'm like, there were so many investigative pieces that aired on KSL 5 TV over the years, and thanks in large part as well to Sloan Schrag. I wasn't gonna cry, Sloan.
Don't cry over me, Argentina. It's all right.
You were one of the most fabulous producers I have ever had the honor of working with, and in large part that's because I knew you were putting up with me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for the work you did.
They gave me a bonus for for putting up with you. And they said, we know this is not going to be an easy job, Sloan, but there's a Debbie bonus involved.
There's a Debbie bonus involved. Carrie, let's start with you, because I think you probably bring like the more serious stories that I worked on, and then Sloan, we'll get to the axe throwing that you made me do in just a moment. But I remember back in the day, Carrie, in the 90s, Utah, as a news reporter, I was getting called out on explosions at drug homes, meth homes. Criminals were trying to brew meth, in the kitchen of their home or in the bathroom of their home, and the home would blow up or would catch fire. And I remember the police officers who were responding to those meth homes. And then I came to my management team and I said, I want to find out how those officers are doing health-wise now. And that set the ball rolling on one of the biggest stories that I think I was involved with here at KSL.
And the most impactful. And I was not directly, involved in your shaping of these stories, but my goodness, I watched them here at the station and I was just in shock of what you were uncovering, just as you just started anecdotally talking to friends and sources and figured out there were like over 40 in your initial story. And then as you continued to reporting, it was over 80. You're finding officers whose health was severely impacted, and you drew the connections and the dots between the illnesses and the symptoms they had and meth exposure. And I remember this shot in your story of from the 1980s of they were trained to put their nose over the chemicals and then waft the chemicals, like they were breathing them in.
For the police reports to figure out what chemicals were being used in that particular meth lab so they could log it on their police reports. And then they were transporting, in some cases, these labs or the remnants of these labs to the police station to book them into evidence rooms. And this was happening
all along the Wasatch Front. And you brought in a clip from that.
I think you're one of your very, very first stories on this issue.
Let's listen.
Eyewitness News located 42 officers exposed to methamphetamine labs in the 80s and 90s. To see how they're doing today, we found 24 of the 42 suffer from chronic health problems or have died. A look back at old video, they recall little training, inhaling chemicals for reports, loading them in their cars, told to dump them in fields. What did those chemicals do to the officers?
We posed that question to 15 government agencies and research groups. Everyone told us there's just not enough evidence to link the officers' diseases to their meth lab exposure.
But our research raises red flags. We find reports linking some of the ingredients found in meth labs to the same diseases officers are now fighting.
I remember laying in bed with massive books from OSHA and an organization called NIOSH that tracks the chemical exposures and what humans, the time frame that humans can be exposed to some of these chemicals that were ultimately over the years found in meth labs along the Wasatch Front, and studying those books and remembering these officers were being exposed to such high levels of noxious and in my view, very poisonous chemicals that, and sadly, in many of the officers that I met back in 2004 and 2005 and covering these stories have passed away, frankly, passed away. There's been some, debate over whether their illnesses were linked to their exposures to meth labs over the years. But I do know one thing for sure, and that is their families miss them, and they will never be able to see them again. But it wasn't always like that for the investigative team. We were also looking at ways to protect consumers too, right? Claire?
Right. You were looking at such a fun variety of stories. I remember as plastic slides became the thing, you were out with the thermometer to see how hot they would get.
Many in the public made fun of me for that, but kids were burning their backsides going down these blue and green, the darker colored slides that are all over our parks and that were not covered from the sun. And there was a little girl, I interviewed her mother, who just got a pretty severe burn on her backside. So we made some progress in making sure.
They put shades over them.
They did.
Communities started being more mindful.
Didn't I make you go get pedicures too?
Yes.
And what did I make you do?
2 different times. You did a story, I think in 2006, and then again after you rejoined our unit, 2017, 2018. And the first time, I think you just assigned us. You're like, hey, go to this one, and I want you to get a water sample while you're getting a pedicure and look around and see.
I wanted to see if the water was dirty.
I know. And so I'm like, how do I do this?
Okay, let's listen to this.
We sent women into 5 salons we chose at random. All had recently passed a county health inspection. We collected water samples from jetted pedicure tubs, like this one, and we delivered the samples to a lab. The testing started, and bacteria began to grow and grow while we waited. We analyzed 70 health inspections. Inspectors cited safety problems at more than half the salons they went into. Pedicure tools not disinfected between clients, dirty floors, clippers with old nail shavings left on them, and dirty fingernail files getting reused on customers.
This is awful. My gosh.
And our water tests uncovered another hazard.
I wouldn't let my mother, my sister, my friend go to a facility that had this kind of bacteria count.
Did it change how you look at getting pedicures and you make sure you look up the salons?
As I recall, my water test was one of the very worst ones, so I never went back to that particular salon. But I always check inspections now before.
I check reviews. You can check inspections at the health department websites. It's been awesome being a part of the team at KSL 5 TV and the investigative unit.
I just love how you always focused as this mom in the community on what matters to Utah families. And you really were so thoughtful about what stories matter.
Yeah. I miss working in the unit. I've loved the transition to radio. But Sloan, I've also missed working with you. You were an amazing producer. Tell us about the axe throwing you made me do.
Well, I decided I just needed to get you out of the office. You were working too hard. You needed some stress relief, so I said, we got axe throwing. It's a new thing.
It was for a story. Let's listen.
You're going to go over your head, you're going to step, you're going to throw, and you're going to follow through.
Social axe throwing's Mark Floyd showed me how to throw. I started out with a few ugly misses. But within a few minutes, I started landing the axes.
Oh, she beat me.
Right on target.
Nice.
So the next time I need a little stress relief, I might throw an axe or two.
Why did you take me axe throwing, Sloan?
It was dangerous. Now that I think about that, probably should have hired...
Well, it sounds like the audio clip we just played, somebody screaming in the background. I was hitting a board, just so we're clear, right?
Well, I mean, it hit the board, but it didn't really stick. I mean, it hit the ground after it hit the board. It was a little bit loose for a little bit, but you got the hang of it eventually.
Yeah, and you're still with the investigative unit working very closely with KSL5's Matt Gephardt.
That's correct, yeah. You've actually, I think, if I hadn't worked with you, you really prepared me for that assignment. You really have, in more ways than one. And I don't think
in a good way.
Yeah, in incredible ways. I don't think I have 2 Emmys, and I can credit you for putting me on that path, because I don't think I would have done it without working with you so closely as we did.
Well, thank you. And we went on a lot of adventures together. You reminded me just a few minutes ago, didn't I take you up to a reservoir at one point as the investigative reporter and producer, dynamic duo, looking for some lost documents that we never really found?
Yeah, we're up there, just being intrepid journalists looking for documents that were never to be found. But it was
a tip we got, and as Carrie knows,
We get a lot of tips.
We get a lot of tips, and I was always willing to go out and check, especially if it would have involved a hike around a reservoir with Sloan. Sloan Schrag, Carrie Wilcox, in from the KSL5 investigative unit. Thank you so much for all you've done for me. You both have been a gift to me, working with you for all of these years. The day I walked through the door at KSL5 TV and, asked for a job was the best day of my career.
KSL is better because we had you as part of our team. You just mentored so many people.
Thank you.
You're just fabulous. I know retirement's going to be amazing, but I'm going to miss seeing you.
Thank you.
I think I can safely say for Carrie and myself and Caitlin and all of us at KSL, don't go, please. Don't go, Debbie. You can do this for another 10 years, really. I mean, there's no reason for you to retire. I have some pool at KSL. If you want to take the summer off and come back in the fall, I'm sure Greg and Holly would be understanding, but just give it a think.
Oh, you guys are the best. Stick around, because straight ahead, it's my final segment on KSL News Radio.
It's a big moment for Debbie Dujanovic and a big moment for KSL listeners. Debbie retires after her last show Friday, and we couldn't be happier for her. And listeners, we can't wait for you to hear the all-new Inside Sources. Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson coming Monday at 9 on KSL News Radio.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Dave, and Dujanovic.
Well, I want to start off this final goodbye with saying my goodbyes.
The following preview has been rated G and is appropriate for all audiences.
To our movie show guys, Andy and Steve, you with me?
We're here. Yes.
Hi, bye.
Hi, bye.
We voted, and you are not allowed to leave. Thank you.
I will have a little more time on my hands starting at about 8 minutes from now. What about this week's movie of the week?
This week's movie of the week will take us the whole time we have just to say the name, because it's called From the World of John Wick, Ballerina.
Ooh.
Because people are thinking, oh, it's a ballerina movie. Nope.
It is not. It's a John Wick movie, and yes, John Wick is in it, and during the movie show we will explain how that is possible when we get to that. But I don't think that one's your cup of tea, Deb.
Okay.
Next week, How to Train Your Dragon, that's going to be the one.
Or Dangerous Animals, if you want to see the best shark movie since Jaws.
Oh, Jaws has lived in my soul since the day. When did that come out? 1978? 75. Okay. Yeah, I might skip that one, but
Yeah,
How to Train Your Dragon, I'm on board. Hey,
this might be the standard by which all live actions are based on.
Really?
In the future. That's how good.
Well, I
review, though.
I want to just say to both of you, I will still be listening. I will be yelling back at my radio when I disagree with your hot takes on the movies. But Andy Farnsworth and Steve Sales. Steve, I've known you probably longer than I've known Andy, because you used to work at Channel 2, and I used to see you in the field when I was at Channel 4, and it's been a pleasure, my friend. It's so good to have you on the air here at KSL News Radio. And Andy, I mean, thank you for all you have done for me over the years and for making KSL News Radio shine. And I'm super excited to listen to you every morning with Amanda.
Thank you. You've done far more for me than I ever have done for you, Debbie, so I appreciate that, and it's been a pleasure to work with you and be able to learn professionalism and skill from you.
And you'll be greatly missed.
Aw, Andy and Steve, our movie show guys, I'll be tuning in on my way to lunch right after I wrap up my final show with my best friend in the newsroom, Caitlin Johnston, our amazing producer. I'm so grateful for all that you've done for me and Dave and D2 and the Dave and Dujanovic show. We used to call it D2 plus C, Caitlin Johnston. And what is just so heartwarming for me, and I'm sure for Holly and Greg, as they take over their new show, starts at 9 a.m. Monday morning, the all-new Inside Sources, is that you will be staying right alongside
I'm still
them.
Here. We're here for the next journey and challenge. My emotions are hitting me right now as I'm looking you in the eye.
Oh, don't look me in the eye.
I'm not.
Look
I'm going to look over in that corner.
Okay,
but no,
just talk away from me.
This show has been a really just great experience all around. And I have one fun moment, if we can squeeze it in. Corey or you can play it. It says fun moment on there.
It. Okay, should I fire this
now?
Yes,
this is just a moment of you and Dave that I caught on social that I wanted to play.
Okay, let's listen. Using part of your retirement savings. Can I just tell them what I'm doing right now?
Finishing a bagel bite. Listen, it happens sometimes. We don't realize. When are we coming back on air? Chomp. This is usually a Dave Noriega issue, not a Debbie Dujanovic issue.
But there's bagels in the hallway. I have scarfed down an entire bagel, and I'm about to go back out there for a second during this segment in like 30 seconds. And Dave is sitting here watching me eat. Sorry.
How you doing there, Chomper?
He keeps begging me for the rest of my bagel, and I'm like, get out of town. All right, here's
it's all fine.
I remember that.
Yeah, well, I when I saw it, it made me laugh. But I just think that the listeners don't exactly know all the work and the fun that goes on behind the scenes, and there's just so much it takes to do this show. But it's been such a good experience.
Well, Caitlin, I remember grabbing that bagel and thinking this is a really bad idea. First of all, it's got way more carbs than I probably should eat in a day, but that I'm getting ready to get back on the air, and then there just wasn't enough time to swallow it. And when we opened that sound clip, using part of your retirement savings, I could tell I was chomping on a bagel. It's carrots, it's bagels, popcorn. It's almonds, and it's popcorn. Those are the big no-nos, and I do them all.
Yeah, and I mean, we don't have a ton of time left. Your final minute and a half is here. I feel like you should end. What do you plan to do with the rest of your life? What's your final message to the listeners?
Oh, you're so kind. Thank you. Look, this has taken me quite a while to get to this decision. It's not something that I took lightly or I decided to do overnight. And I think because of the work that I put in making this decision, I feel at peace with it. I've shed a few tears this week because I'm going to miss
the people here at Broadcast House. But I'm also leave here with extreme gratitude for all of the opportunities that I have been given over the years, from morning show reporter to investigative reporter, and then finding my way, thankfully, over to KSL News Radio. Been given the gift of being able to be on the microphone with our listeners for several hours a day over the last 7 years. And then, being with mentors like Nadine Wimmer and Ruth Todd and Dick Norse and Bruce Lindsay and Doug Wright and Ed Yates and John Hollenhorst and, yes, Caitlin Johnston. And I am so grateful to know that it's people like you, it's people like Corey, it's people like Gustavo, it is Becky Bruce, it's Kara Hoffenmeyer, on and on and on. I don't have enough time to list everybody, but in my Oscar speech, I will make sure that I have enough time eventually, that the next generation will make KSL stronger as we move into a new way of broadcasting, whether that's more on social media. I mean, certainly the iconic 50,000-watt radio station, KSL News Radio and KSL TV, and our online platforms will continue to grow and grow and grow. And I am so grateful to know that it's you, in combination with our amazing listeners, and I'll say our amazing viewers and readers now, even as we move more online, that we're in good hands. And I will be listening and watching and in awe of you. And to me, as I look at you, Caitlin Johnston, represent the future of KSL and the future of the media industry. So I want to thank you.
I'll say, and we thank you, because it's because of people like you that guide the other generation. So we wish you well. We will all miss you.
Well, thank you. And I will miss all of you.